Hello everyone, this is Dion Soul. How's everyone doing today? Today we are looking at, and I guess I'm going to do this review and video kind of like what Doug DeMuro does with all of his cars. So I'll start it out like this. This is an Embraer Bandit. The EMB-110P1 is the model of this airplane, and I just wanted to take you through the quirks and features of this airplane and show you around it, and then we're going to get in it, and then we're going to fly it. We're going to fly it from KWJF here in Lancaster, California, USA, all the way up to Mammoth Mountain. It's approximately a 175 nautical mile flight, and just to give you the feel of what this Dreamfoil Creations airplane is all about. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at this airplane. And as you can notice right here, it's got the cones. It's got the cones all the way around the airplane. It's got this is what you get when you buy the airplane. It's got all the pitot covers and the intake covers. A really nice design or nice good job with what Dreamfoil Creations has done. I want to say Dreamfoil Labs, and I don't know why I want to say Dreamfoil Labs. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, Dreamfoil Creations is the proper name. And so I thought we'd take a look around here and just go right around it and just have a look at this airplane and let you guys tell you guys what I think about it. So anyway, without further ado, we'll go ahead and do just that. So what we got is Dreamfoil Creations has a feature called Smart Menu. And basically what it is you just mouse over to a certain location. If you are in external views, in the external views profile, then you actually have little bitty icons that you can mouse over with your mouse, and they will, more or less, they will populate, and then you can hit it, and then you can close and bring back, all the stuff. And in this case right here, unfortunately, when you're in this view, though, yes, you have access to all of those things, but you don't have the placements of where they are. You just kind of have to mouse around until you find it. On the exterior, I set this one up with the swept horizontal stabilizer, where it's in a lazy, I'm gonna call it the lazy V-tail configuration, or V configuration as far as the horizontal stabilizers are concerned. It's either flat or straight. This particular model or this particular flying, we're going to do it with the the dihedral up like that, so you can see how it looks right there. Looks really nice. The Dreamfoil Labs did do an awesome job on this airplane. They really did a good job. I'm very happy with the airplane. It has its issues, which will go through in this review as I talk about the quirks and features. So as you see right there, we got rid of all the cones, and you can go over here and you can click on the chocks, and then you can mouse over here and you can get rid of that one inlet right there. You can get rid of that inlet there. You can get rid of this pitot tube, which you got to zoom in a little bit there to get to it. And then you can zoom in over here and get rid of this pitot tube right here. And then you can mouse over here and you can get rid of the tail. And there you go. Now we are totally ready for operations. And you also have in the middle on the nose here, then you have them all. You can remove them all, or you can add them all, and you can get them all back. Now, by me adding them all, now we got the cute little GPU and plugged in right there, or you can just remove it just like that. But we'll go ahead and leave it engaged, but we will go back and remove all of the others, and then we'll put the GPU back right over here, just like that. There, now the GPU is in place. The only caveat for the exterior that I noticed is on the back here where you're activating this. So I'm going to switch views to the closer view where you can actually walk around. And so we're going to do an out of body experience, and we're going to zip on over here because I wanted to make a point about this one right here. And basically, it's mostly for the developer of the airplane. I wish that he would, instead of removing the hook and the bar. I wish he would actually leave the gray hook intact, because in the real world I would imagine the gray hook that is mounted to the fuselage would be remaining there, and just the bar itself would go away. So if he has the ability to be able to do that, that would be most helpful from an immersion role-playing RP factor, whatever you want to call it, to be able to do it that way. So that's one little quirk right there that I noticed. Another quirk in the feature is you can come back over here and you can click on this whole door right here, and you can open up the back door, which is really cool. The only thing that I could see that from a role-playing, an RP perspective, would be to actually have this be a two-stage operation. So you'd open the door, and then you would click on the pump handle itself to open it up. I mean, yeah, if you really wanted to get anal and crazy, because the amount of detail and work that went in to create all this, actually have the detail handle and have this move, up and down, and and that sort of thing, and maybe see this fill up and fill down, or or have the level change or whatnot. If you really want to get crazy, I guess you could do that if you wanted to. It's not necessary, but if you want to add that role-playing aspect of it, I guess you could. But while we got this door open, we can take a look inside, and inside, it's nice and roomy in there. Nice, good cubic feet of storage. It'd be kind of nice when you have the loadout of the air. He really needs a loadout panel for the aircraft. So maybe in time, even if it was a included in with other features to be added in the airplane, I would not have a personal problem at all of paying Dreamfoil Creations an extra $10 or whatever for a DLC that would include a loadout panel that in turn would actually populate inside here based on your when you're loading it up, it would load up all of the fill this place up full of cargo and that sort of thing. Another thing that I would notice that I would like for him to do, part of that $10 package, would be to remove this barrier wall and actually make this a complete cargo conversion, a cargo version, which in turn would make it so you would click on either a seat or on the panel itself, the cargo panel itself, actually populate the whole fuselage full of cargo and that sort of thing. That's just ideas that I'm throwing out there for the developer, and again, that would be another way for me for the developer to get more of my money on the airplane, because $29.99, as you can see here at the org store, is a very, for what you get even today, is a very good deal. They price this airplane very well, and I think if they had the features that I'm talking about added onto it, instead of it being a DLC, then it'd be $34.95. Then then you wouldn't need the DLC. You just have all those other features, charge $34, and that's the end of it. But because he's already got the price point at $29, I would say, getting the extra $10 or $5 or whatever the case may be, having these features that I'm talking about added to the airplane over the life cycle of this aircraft. So anyway, we'll go ahead and close this up right here, and we're done right there. And then we'll go ahead and move on around and do our out-of-body experience, and move on over and get inside the aircraft. We could just take a spin around the other side, because I don't think I did that. I should note that unfortunately the quirk of this issue is the fact that the front cargo compartment is not functional, so we have no hit boxes or anything to open the front compartment. Again, added content later on that the developer would do that. I would not have a problem with that at all. I would think that would add up to the role-playing aspect of it, the RP part. And then again, kind of walking around this, and as a side note, this is my Solis Wings livery. I probably have got about 10 hours of my labor in making this livery. Yes, I'm sure somebody can do it in 2 hours or 15 minutes or whatever, and I understand that, but I got to go with the skill level that I have, and it took me 10 hours to make what I got, but that's okay. You know, it's personalized. It's what I want, so it's all good. So anyway, we'll go ahead and release that because we don't need that active. And like I say again, we'll go about it. So the reflections of the airplane are awesome. So it's using the PBR, you know, X-Plane 11 tech, which is really good. No complaints there at all. Again, I mean, like I said, is it worth the $29? Yes, definitely worth the $29. I did configure the high antenna, the high frequency antenna in here. It's just because I just thought it looks cool, you know, having the old school, even though it doesn't really need it. Another quirk with the airplane is the fact that if you go over here to click on this panel, it does not open. You have to go right about in here, and then let me go ahead and zip down here a little bit. You know, right about in here, and then it opens, and basically what it's doing is it's reading through of this. So what he needs to do is he needs to put a hitbox right here and a hitbox right here. So then that way, from an RP perspective, you just click on this thing opens up, and then you are good to go. Let's go ahead and step on side into the airplane. Now on the interior, again, this is where I was talking about earlier, about if you just had a spot right here, a hitbox somewhere, maybe on this first, or either in the panel. Like I said, it needs to be developed, or just like they do with the V Skylabs, just click on this first bench and change it over to a cargo version with cargo populated. That would be nice, but not a big deal. I mean, it's not that big a deal at all. All the seats are modeled very well and look very nice. Carpeting looks nice, no problem at all there. It all looks good. All the lights work, and you can use your mouse scroll wheel, and you can scroll in and out with the lights. And because this is HDR is active in my sim, and probably in yours as well, you would see at nighttime, you would see the light bouncing off of all of the surfaces, which makes it really cool. But they all work fine. The cork, that's a feature. And then the cork side of things, the air outlets are not gimbaled, and when it's on, they do not. You don't have the air. You know, when you're moving them around, they'd be blowing in your face, and kind of like what Dan Klaus did with his Quest Kodiak, where you have, or at least he did on the original release of the Quest Kodiak. You would take your mouse and you would gimbal, and when the thing was pointed right at your face or at your viewpoint, you can hear the sound get louder, and then when you move it away, it gets softer of the blowing air, which is really cool. So kudos to Dan Klaus on his product when he did that. I thought that was great. That would be kind of cool if they had it here, but again, not necessary. I mean, how often are we as pilots going to be back here, sitting here, expecting things like that to work? So again, that's just a minor thing. Having all these lights work is probably good enough. So anyway, we'll get in over here. We'll go ahead and close the door here. And the doors close really nicely. You can see a little bit of you know, crack or seams that need to be closed up. Maybe when the airplane is in the air, they'll kind of sink in or whatever. I don't know. This, like I say again, this is not a pressurized cabin, so you know, but it does have that leakage of pass-through that just needs to be tightened up a little bit there. And then I think that we'd have a, you know, that would look really good. You got a little seam right there as well, either, you know, by walking, you know, moving around with your viewpoint. So let's go ahead and get on into the flight deck. The flight deck, we're sitting in PIC, so we're currently sitting in here. And another thing is you have these, all these can be open and closed, which is really cool, or down and up, I should say. So that's nice. No problem there. I like that. Very cool. A feature that I put in, I guess you could say, that the developer did not put in, is which is a real small little bitty one, but if you notice that for the users who have already owned this airplane and has bought the airplane outright, I should caveat this by saying that this is version 3.1. This is the you know, the Embraer 110 version 3.1, and at this time, as of this recording on the 9th of October of 2018, or August, excuse me, August 9th of 2018, not October, we're not there yet. I added the little circle here. So then that way you actually have, and you notice that it changes color because I tried to chromify it, and it didn't actually go chrome too much, but at least it does change color a little bit, and that's just with the trickery of normals and that sort of thing. So I actually added a little dot and made it made it so you can actually see it. Now unfortunately, I mean, you can see I can move this thing all the way down, and looking at this at face value, the dot now is probably about where my mouse is right now. It's way down there, and then if you go all the way up, and then you go all the way up this way, it's probably right about in here somewhere on the dial. So it's out of its window right here. So what that translates to is that the developer, you can, even with my SciTech equipment, now I'm moving it with my SciTech equipment that is outside the sim, I am limited to right there on the SciTech equipment, and I am limited to about to right at the 3 or so. I'm limited right there. So from the visual perspective and the SciTech equipment is concerned, it is right where it needs to be. But unfortunately, when you're setting up your takeoff, when you're setting your takeoff pitch, it's way back down here. It's way beyond what is visual here, and you can see how how it goes way over here and way beyond with the little elevator window, way beyond the other extreme. It'd be also kind of nice, just as a side note, that he can go in, and maybe I'll have to do it myself, and actually put in put in little dots in this little dial here, if I can find it in the in this where this is, and find it and actually add a dot here and a dot there or whatever, just to have it in there. So those are a couple of shortcomings that the developer has not done. I just think he needs to tighten this up where the throw of, okay, I'm over here like this is as far as I can go. With my SciTech equipment, that's as far as I can go. I shouldn't, this position right here should be it. He needs to just tighten it down where our window of pitch trim is between here and here, instead of way over there and way over there. It's kind of hard to explain because you can't see where that dot is ending up. So like I said, this needs to be tightened up, so that's another shortcoming of the developer, what needs to do with the pitch. If it was farther, because I noticed when I slam it farther back, then of course the airplane will get off the ground and I will have positive climb. A very small positive climb, but I will have positive climb. So anyway, and then I also noticed that we have ourselves a little indentation right here too, that I didn't notice that before. But anyway, so that's where we're at on that. So it's just a simple thing. Also too, and there you go right there, it just snaps right back to 0 pitch, which is fine. That's not a big deal there. So that's good right there. Throttles all work just fine. And you'll notice that my the developer made the handles of the props yellow, and normally we see them as blue on most aircraft that has props. So I went in and actually made it as well, blue myself as well. So then that way I can make them, one, the same as what I see in most other aircraft, and also to make it the same as what's on my SciTech equipment, because my SciTech equipment is blue as well. And then lastly, as you can see, you'll see a little bit more shine, if I can do this without messing up here. You'll see when I move around this pedestal, the pedestal plate right here that has all the data on it, all the graphics on it, you'll see that it's really shiny. And I wanted that because I thought it would give us a better, sheen, or more of a better feel. I went into the normals and I actually put in to where I give it that little bit more sheen, chrome effect look. And so I added that to the mix. So those are the things that the developer didn't do, and that what I did to personalize it for myself. And then, of course, lastly, you will not see that on the purchase of your aircraft from the store, whereas mine, I put in the Embraer Bandeirnet. My Portuguese is bad, so I'm just gonna say Bandit, and that's pretty much the size of that. That's pretty much what I have added, and what those items are. The nextly, we can discuss the yoke. The yoke and the yoke pedestal. The yoke, you can hide the yoke individually, which is very good, which is very cool. But unfortunately, you cannot hide the pedestal. I have not found the hitbox to be able to hide the pedestal. I don't think there is, and you can see where it kind of crops into the or clips into the ground. But that's, you know, I'm not tripping on that. But at any rate, yeah. So that's. But this doesn't go away, unfortunately. It's still there, and it'd be kind of nice if it did go away, so then that way you have access to the switches and knobs that this is hiding. Not a big deal. It's just only a minor thing, but you know, if you're going through all this effort, you might as well have, you know, finish the job and actually get rid of the pedestal as well. Then that way you don't have any of that in your way. Granted, that's the luxury we have as flight simulation pilots, is that we can get rid of things to bring up our flight simulation experience. A side note about the about being able to taxi this airplane. The airplane itself, if you want authority on your nose wheel, you need to turn on this little switch right there, and you see it illuminate green, and then all of a sudden now you've got nose wheel authority. When I first got into the airplane, I did not have that luxury. I almost ran into that building right there until I quickly figured out that, oh, I got to push this button right here. And then once I did that, then I was able to get out of a situation of taking out my wings into that building right over there. Now, don't mind the building that says KMMH. That's just a graphic from that airport that's in KWJF. We are actually in KWJF, Lancaster, California, USA. Another quirk about the airplane is, well, I guess I could say it's another feature. You can click on this and you can see this go up, checking the temperature of your battery, which is really cool. You know, that's really good. So no problem there at all. Works just fine. I've never seen my temperature go up in operation. I have not seen my temperature up, but it does give you this test thing. So I'm assuming this gauge works, or why would the developer go through the effort of creating the gauge if it's not going to work? So, and being able to have the test feature, so I'm assuming that it works, but I have not, personally, I have not seen it work yet. I've just seen it always stay down to the minimum. So I don't know about if it's actually worked or not. As far as using the speakers and your headphones, directing, you know, all of the audio. The audio switch works. It's kind of backwards. When you go up, it goes down, and when you go down, it goes up. Now, some people are going to say, well, that's kind of how Embraers are, which is very true. On my Embraer 175 or previous versions, the Embraer 170 that comes to mind. When I had that, when you had to pay for it before it became free, I did notice that, you know, on was off and off was on scenario, and there was quite a few switches that are that way. So I just labeled that was a Embraer thing. But when you do that, yes, now I have authority to my headphones. And then you'll notice that this switch is now off. If I flip that switch on, when I turn this on, you can see there is power to this right now. Now there's power to it. The switch is now off, but this is on. But if I turn that off, now the switch is on and this is off. But when you actually hear the sound for the, you know, for your airport, you will notice that, and I'm doing right now is I am switching to, because I got to get it anyway, KWJF here in Lancaster. We'll go ahead and turn it on.
General
now you're hearing it right now, and you see that the switch is off. You see this is
1800
on.
Zulu weather. Wind light and variable, visibility more than 10. Sky clear.
Even though I got to go down to be able to turn it off. So whatever, you know, it's just one of those things. And you got speaker mode.
General WMJ
and
Fox
we're at
Airfield
302,
information
and
Charlie.
we're taking off at runway 6.
1800 Zulu weather.
Runway 6. Okay, that's all I want to know.
Wind light and variable, visibility more.
Okay. So anyway, so like I said, so we've got some backwards. You need to do a little bit of tender loving care, corks, tender loving care on the comms to make those uniformly the same, and then we'll probably be good to go there. You know, then we won't have any other problems with that. I'll put this on standby. The radar. So the radar's in standby. Let's make sure this is set at 0, and they are set at 0 as far as what our fuel is consumed. And we will quickly go ahead and verify that we still have our capacity. Yes, we do. We still have all that. So we are going to go with nearly a full, fully loaded airplane. And the reason for that is because we are going to carry. We are going to go from KWJF to KMMH, and we are going to take 8 passengers, and total payload is 1,443 cargo or payload capacity, and we're only going to make $615. That's Flight Jobs needs to increase our pay scale to get them up there a little bit. If this was an FS economy, it would probably be 8 passengers at probably about $500 to $700 per passenger ticket. So we would be making considerably more money here with Flight Jobs. Just to go off on a Flight Jobs tangent here real quick, we're actually only doing 615 divided by 8. So we're actually only doing $76 per ticket, and of course that's also including the 471 kilograms of cargo, which we're going to assume that is their luggage. So, like I said, we don't make very much money with Flight Jobs, but Flight Jobs has its advantages as well. But that's a topic for another video. So anyway, back into the airplane right here. And sorry about that, going off on that tangent there. So we'll go ahead and see what else we can see about this airplane. A little note about the air conditioning. You can turn on the vent right here and get the vent action going, and turn on the fans, and we got the fans are going. So sounds really good. This airplane has got really good sounds. I have no complaints with sounds in this airplane at all. He or she has done a masterful job, or I should say Dreamfoil Creations has done a masterful job of sounds for this airplane. Really enjoying it, so no complaints there. All the other buttons, you can, for those of you who have already owned the airplane, can experience them for yourself. I don't want to take too much time because it'll be take this video longer than it already is. And then you can go to get your horizon to work. You got to click on that little button there, and then that starts to work. So we're good to go there. And lastly, let's see what else we need. We need to also turn on our if we're going to do that, and if I do that, then I need to go, well actually we're not going to do that because we're going to do GPS. Well actually we're going to hand fly the thing. Screw that, we're going to do heading and whatnot, unless I have it already plugged into the GPS here. Let me see real quick. We can add that while we're here at this station. Okay, I'll just pull it out. Flight plan. We'll go ahead and go on over to this one, and KWJF, no we do not. Alright, so then I will go back to, I'll quickly go over here and I will save the flight plan real fast, save it, and boom, and then there it is. So now the airplane's out. Now, because this is native X-plane, I was able to actually save it from a little nav and then it automatically put it in there, so then it automatically brought it up here for me to actually click on, which is awesome. If you have Goodway and other ones that I personally experienced, it doesn't do that. You actually have to quit out of X-plane and actually come back in, or switch the aircraft out, and then it would come in. So that's a nice thing. That's one of the advantages of developers using stock X-planes hardware. use stock X-plane hardware, us as a user have a better experience, have a more positive experience. So we'll go ahead and add that. And so we got mine all checked out right here. We'll put this to GPS, and then we can go over here and see this is going to be our flight plan. I've got 2 personal waypoints in there that I used Little Nav to be able to create. So everything is ready to go. No procedures, anything like that. We're kicking this a little old school, except for the GPS part. So we're kicking butt on that one. We'll go ahead and do that right there. So we're fine there. We got our GPS going, and then lastly, we need to go and put in our heading. Going to be 24, and we'll go ahead and use our mouse wheel here to. You can actually, I think you can go faster if you go the other way, like that. Which mouse clicks and whatnot. And also, or you can just use SciTech, the SciTech multifunction panel, which is what I'm doing right now, and bring it around that way as well. This airplane does not have a altitude selector hold. Unfortunately, it does not have that. The way the autopilot is designed is you set your climb, and then once you get up, then you press the button, and then you are at your altitude you want to be at. But on the flip side is because the way it is in the background with the SciTech multifunction panel is usable, and so you can actually use your multifunction panel to be able to adjust it. And as a side note to that, out of the box, when you get the airplane, you can't see it right now because if I did, I'd screw it up. But you would you have to go into Plane Maker. 2 things you need to do in Plane Maker is over in the systems settings, where you would adjust your gyros to be either electric or vacuum or any of that sort. There's also another option that X-Plane 11 is now, that Laminar has put in, that allows you to change the settings from every tenths to 100ths to 150, 200. In other words, every time you would do your altitude hold selector, you can set it any way you want. You can, if you want to set it only in increments of 5 feet, you could do that. 100, 5, 1,000, whatever you want to do. It does it, and so that's an X-Plane Plane Maker thing. And so I changed this to 100 so I can rapidly go from 0 to 30,000 feet, in 100-foot increments, a lot better than in every tenth, every 10 feet per minute. So, sorry I can't show that to you, and all I can only do is describe it to you. But I highly recommend that. And then the other thing in Plane Maker is if you want your tail number, you have to put your tail number, because the default is tail number 1, is what it says. It just says 1. So when you're talking to ATC via X-Plane, or if somebody sees it on their radar screen with in various online services, they might see it on their radar screen is that your tail number is 1. Usually their software circumvents that, but in the event it doesn't, just an FYI that you would have to go into Plane Maker and actually set it, especially if you're using SimBuddy. SimBuddy, when SimBuddy pools your ACF file, and it tells you what your tail number is based on looking at your ACF file. So that's why I put in November 502 Delta Mike, because that is my tail number that I use in all of my aircraft. So anyway, so that takes care of that right there. So we got our flight plan in already. We've already set our artificial horizon already. We've already got that done already. We're not going to do our prop sync until we are actually in the air. We will go ahead and turn on our boost for our hydraulics. We've already got our light on for our authority for our nose wheel, so we can taxi around. All throttle quadrant is set, and all settings are set to where they're supposed to be. Only thing we have left to do is to go up here into the high panel, and On the overhead panel, we'll set inertial separator ons on both of them, might as well. And also, for some reason, and I'm sure they've got their reasons, but they went ahead and had me turn the inverters on right now. So the inverters are on right now. And so that's the way they are right there. And the inverters are now on. We'll go ahead and turn on our nav light, and we'll go ahead and turn on our beacon. This particular switch is a three-way switch, meaning or three position switch, not a three-way, a three position, meaning that the middle position is beacon only, the top one is beacon and anti-collision, i.e. strobes. So we've got it set to just beacon only right now because we are on the ground. And then we'll go ahead and hit our smoking sign and our seatbelt sign. No audio for each one of those. In other words, the developer did not put, when he turned that on, having the ding sound. Because this is this is basically about as, other than the Jetstream 32, this is about as big as you're going to want to get before you go into a big airliner. So, you know, having a little ding sound, that would be kind of cool. Static pitos, I guess you can turn them on now. I guess it doesn't really matter, even though it is hot out there. It's 28 degrees Celsius out there right now. And so, and then of course you got your panel lights. I just turned the panel lights on just for easier, even though it's daylight, easier visibility. If you wanted to look at to see the de-ice, I have not seen if the ice actually accumulates with this model. I don't know if he's got that built in. Most developers do not have graphics to build up ice onto the wings, so I kind of doubt it does, but the ice light is right there. This NAC landing gear, which actually does have a spotlight shining down. I can't hard to see right there, but on the landing gear right there, you'll see a big halo of light right there, which is kind of weird, but okay. But it also shines on the wing itself, so you know, whatever. It's kind of an added quirk right there. That's kind of interesting. So what we'll do is we will go ahead and leave our inverters on, and we'll go ahead and next thing we'll do is throw on the fuel. So we'll go ahead and turn on the fuel. Right fuel on, and we'll put the auxiliary fuel to normal. And if somebody explained to me in the chat what hot mic means, that would be most appreciated, because I really don't know what hot mic means. And to be honest, I guess I could look it up on the net, and I probably will eventually. But hey, just for the hell of it, for interaction between me and the audience, if you don't mind, audience participation, if you don't mind putting in the comments of what hot mic means, that would be that'd be kind of cool. I'd greatly appreciate that. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and start engine number 2. And to do that, we're going to hit this little button right here, and that's it. Go take a peek out over here, and you can see it starting to make some noise. So we got that action going on over there. And then because of that, let's see if everything is settled down. Get a little bit of fuel to it. There we go. Got some fuel. Everything settles down pretty quickly, and then just go ahead. Now, whether that's accurate or not, I don't know. But again, I do have the failures turned on as far as the model itself. And now we turn on the and we start seeing we got a little bit of generator action going on here. Let me jump over here like this. Not much in the way of battery consumption, or power consumption, whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But we do have nearly 28 amps. We're probably running around 26 amps right now. Let me reset this, see if that changes. No change. Okay, that's fine. But we're good to go right there. And then we'll go ahead and turn on the next one, which is this little bad boy right over here. So we'll come down in over here. We'll turn on the pump center. And we've got fuel pressure. Yeah, fuel pressure is up a little bit. We're fine there. And then we'll go ahead and start engine number 1. That's going to start. And of course, flight jobs automatically pops up when I start the engine. We'll wait till we get right around 20-ish or so, and we are, and then I'll engage fuel. Fuel has been engaged. Temperature was up briefly. And then we'll go ahead and turn on our auto feather, which I think I did that wrong. I think you're supposed to set the feather first before you start the engines. I just did it backwards, but I think we'll be fine. And then that's it. We got ourselves a running engine. We'll go ahead and throw our generator on. Come on, generator. You got to hit the right button at the right spot. Reset. Boom. Okay, we got it there. Now we're going to get rid of the APU. So switch it, and boom. Because there's bus going too, so if you turn it off like that, it should still stay on, because I've got the generators going. So I don't know why. He needs to work on the logic a little bit, I feel, to actually make that. Or, you know, maybe there has to be something that has to do with this switch. I don't know. So I go emergency bus bar. No, so I don't know. So anyway, so like I said, it doesn't really matter. I don't think I lost my, no, I didn't lose my place, but I just noticed here that it's going to fly to KWJF, and that's where we're at. So I do need to fix that real quick. I need to make this, and not do that. I need to go like that, and then that's what I need to go. Rect, activate. All right. Okay, there, fix that. So we're good to go there. So now we've got everything going. We got everything on. We got everything on. We'll go ahead and throw our taxi light on and let everybody know we are going to move shortly. And I can't think of anything else that I'm leaving out. Inertial separator is still on until we are actually in the air. And props don't go on until we're actually climbing or getting out of Dodge. So we're good to go there. We'll go ahead and turn on our Light Jobs connector, and we'll hit refresh, and we'll see if this thing will accept us, and it did. So we are now, the website knows that we are ready for this flight. Okay, we already know we're coming off of runway 06, but we need to go ahead and jump back and turn
General
this back
WMJ
on,
Box
so it has
Airfield
nothing
Information
changed.
Charlie. 1800 Zulu weather. Wind calm, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 31, dew point 0. Altimeter 3003.
Okay, we're at
Arriving runway
3003.
06, departing runway 06.
So no problem
Advise
there.
on initial contact you have Charlie.
So we got no problem with that right there, so we're good to go. I think we're ready to rock and roll. Let's just go ahead and take a little look right outside real quick, make sure everything is fine. Now, one thing I did not show you that I could have done is that if you zoom in right here, when you're down, you can actually adjust the fuel, which is really cool. When you're doing, but again, when you're walking around, if I'm walking around and then I come up, when you're in this mode of walking around, it doesn't become available to you. So I know somebody's going to say, well, that's because you've already got the planes or the engines going. That's not true. That's just that the logic is not set up to do that. It's only set up when you are in exterior view, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so that takes care of that. So now what we need to do is we need to actually just taxi right on out. So I don't see anything stopping us from just like let's GTFO. And again, because we have nose wheel authority, we are going to be able to taxi here. And Mr. Bug Eater 64, my comrade, has built for me this KWJF here in Lancaster, California. He took the time to actually add in a few things here and there, and actually made it so we can add up our little immersion factor. Now it is kind of in a fictitious state because these buildings that we are going in between in the real world do not exist, so you have to do a little bit of artistic license, a little bit. Mainly everything is all down that way. And then we'll just head on over here to Alpha, and then we'll make our turn here on Alpha and go to runway 6. But like I say again, the sounds are really, really good in this airplane. I can't stress it enough of how cool the sounds are. And we'll just go around and just kind of just wave by. We're kind of going a little fast there. Now, how to control the taxiing is you use your conditioners. You don't use your props. Just pull back to like 50% on the conditioners, and you will start to slow down, and also it will not move. When I did it with the props, I had no change. Like right now, I'm 50% of my props right now, and I'm still accelerating. So backing it off on your conditioner is what you need to do to control the speed if you get too fast in your taxiing with this airplane. At least that's what I have found. That's been my experience so far, and that's fine. Not a big deal. As we're enjoying the scenery of the desert up here in the high desert here in Lancaster, California, USA. On the outside until I start getting squirrely with the airplane. Like I said, the airplane is really, really nice. Highly recommend. Well, I recommend it. I'm not gonna say. I guess I could say highly. I guess highly recommended. I guess if you want the airplane, then I'd highly recommend it. I'll say it that way. There you go. If you want it, if you want a low wing turboprop before you go into the big boys and bigger airplanes, if you like small airplanes that notch above a general aviation but below, airliners, then yes, this fits right in the category with the Jetstream 32 and the shorts and the all those airplanes. It fits into all those ones that come to mind. Like I say again, the Jetstream 32, the what's the other one? Having a brain lapse of what the other one is. The reason why I went over here, I'll think of it in a minute. The Beechcraft 1900D, that was the other one I was thinking of. All in that same class, I guess you could say. Now, when you wanted to do a run-up on this airplane, because it does have in the checklist, does do a run-up, and when you do a run-up, you actually pull everything back, which is really strange, because on the other airplanes, you don't do that. And then you just go ahead and just bring it on up, and you just bring it on up there, and that's it. You just bring it on up, let it run for a little bit. You back off, because right now I'm burning up the engines right now. I do have the like I said, it's this airplane. Briefly, very, very briefly, it's all about the temperature. I have not had any issues with this airplane with torque. Over torquing the engines, that has not been a problem with this version 11.25. That's the X-Plane 11 version. The 3.1 version of the airplane. Over torquing has not been an issue. What's been the issue is the temperatures. This thing will over temp like you wouldn't believe. Right now I'm at 75% throttle. I'm doing right around 734 according to my exterior gauges. I can pump it up to, there's 750 right there, and that's about right. You can see the needle right there is right around 750 in the yellow zone. So what I see on my XHSI panel, instrument panel, and what I see there is accurate. And we ran it long enough. But like I said, torque-wise, you know, you don't over torque this airplane. It's torquing is not the issue. With the you know, just to verify, we'll go ahead and go over here to custom. Yeah, see, the failures are still active because it's highlighted or it's white. If it was grayed out, then of course it wouldn't be. So yeah, so this is do or die. This is it. It's going to burn up if you go too much. So now we'll go ahead and bring it on out, and that's what I like about the airplane. It teaches you to be not just firewall it and go. So I think it needs to be adjusted a little bit, but not too much. You know, it's just, I think it needs to be adjusted just a little bit where you have a little bit more play or a lot less time. In other words, more time in the yellow before it burns up. But that's very, very subjective, and other people would disagree with me, and I totally get that. That's why it's very subjective. Right now, you just have to take it as, well, this is what the developer gave us, so this is what we're going to do. You know, we're going to go with it. So, we're all set and ready to go. We'll go ahead and throw in our landing lights, and we'll go ahead and put in our other lights, and we are all set and ready to go there. Make sure, one last look, make sure everything is cherry and ready to go. Everything looks like it's ready to go. Again, I will do the propeller sync and everything else once I am off the ground, and I'll remove the inertial separators once I am off the ground. According to this, the green zone is right there, so it looks like I need to be right there for takeoff. And according to my XHSI, I am currently neutral, which is what it shows right here. If I go all the way back to down here, okay, that's my max right there. That says I am up 10 and I am back 10 where it says 3, but that's XHSI, so it may not be exactly accurate right there. But if I use this wheel there, now if I take this little, if I go like that, and see how that thing is, that flat piece right there? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a test. Okay, that's the, that little flat mark right there that is on the wheel. I'm going to put that to the green right now. And you can see how that's far down right there. That's well beyond what the limitations are of my SciTech equipment to be used. So I'm going to take off with that setting right there, and we're going to see what happens. We're going to see if this airplane will take off and maintain positive climb as we climb out. Because that's one little trick that you guys are seeing right now in this video that I have not tried yet. So we're going to give that a shot right there. I'll pre-set up the flight director. I'll go ahead and turn that on right now. I'll go ahead and set my indicated airspeed to 125 knots, and the reason why is because anything below 125, my gear warning horn goes off, and then I have to turn it off, and it comes back on again, and off, and annoys the hell out of me. And then now, because we're coming off of runway 6, now you're going to see down here that I have to move my heading to runway, or to 06 instead of runway 24, because we are taking off at runway 6. Okay, that takes care of that. One more last little blink on that. One more last little blink on that. So we're good to go there. All right, let's go ahead and take off. I think we are good to go. We got our blinky blinky lights. This airplane is squirrely on the runway, so until I have authority on the rudder, I'll just take it up a little more and try to get right around I found if you go 780 Celsius or so, that's about as much as you're going to want to go and stay in the safe zone without burning up the engines. And we're at 782 right now, 785. But we're just going to let it climb. We're going to see if we can see if we can get it off the ground without me having to pull back on the stick too much. Because before that little trick I just showed you, I was we're at 120 knots right now. And now I'm just pulling back on the stick just a little bit. And now we are off. And we are now doing positive climb. I'll go ahead and bring up the gear. Get rid of that drag. And we just took off with no flaps. I should have had the flaps. Oops, my bad. And now autopilot is engaged. Using SciTech equipment with the autopilot is very nice. When I click on the SciTech multifunction panel with this airplane, it actually accepts it and uses it. So whereas other aircraft like a lot of the Carenado products, when I try to use the SciTech equipment, it doesn't work. So it's just kind of a trade-off there. I just noticed one thing I did not do, and I did not turn on my ATIS. And also I see that I am not set to 1200. So let's fix that. There's 1200 right there. And we are still maintaining 783. I'm going to back it off to 780. Just a little bit. I want to keep my speed up. At the moment, we are currently burning 63 gallons per hour on each tank or each engine right now. I'll go ahead and back up on the, now you can see that on the, where is it at? There it is. You can see on the prop RPM here, we're at 100% on this one, but over here we're kind of like at 99% for some reason, and I don't know why it's not doing that, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to fix that. I'm going to go over here and hit, well, not that wrong one. Whoops, my bad. Wrong one. This one. There we go. But now you see it climbed up to 100%, so now it is working off of, I'm going to see which one it's working off of. Let me adjust my, I was adjusting my throttle and not my, I'm to get my throttle where I wanted it. Temperature was starting to climb. Now I'm going to back off on my, there's 99%. We'll take it down to 95% for right now as we're climbing. And we'll keep it going. Very good. Climbing at 125 knots. GPS is doing its thing. And now the transponder is working. I didn't hit the right button on the transponder. And we can go ahead and turn on our radar. The only thing that does work on this thing is the radar. Map and navigation, none of that works on this thing. They did not model it, appears. We can go in so I mean, it's clear, so I'm not really too concerned about But we're just rocking and rolling right along. Only cleanup we got to do is get rid of our taxi light and our navigation light, and get rid of our inertial separators, which is actually going to make it so I can actually have a little bit more airflow going through the front there. Once we get to 9,500 feet, settle down, and then we'll just rock and roll. So like I said, yeah, like I said, the I think he needs to close this gap where the airplane's you know, the airplane's thresholds, either minus or plus, needs to match what it is in an X-plane, i.e., because with the SciTech equipment, it was not limited. The SciTech equipment is what's not limiting me. X-plane, and with the SASL that the developer is using, is going beyond the limits of what X-plane recognizes. So that needs to be addressed, and that needs to be because obviously, which I just showed you in this video, by me going beyond actually using the here is different than what you can do with having your other equipment attached to it, or even using if you actually put in and bind your pitch trim up and down with your joystick buttons, they only go so far, and so it's still not at the threshold that the airplane with the SASL is configured is. So that's another thing, another quirk that the developer needs to fix. So we are currently just there. You can see we got a lot of, here in Southern California in the high desert, we got a lot of solar farms out here. That's the new thing nowadays. If you're going to be a landowner, instead of doing wheat or farming or anything like that, heck, just do solar. And we are coming to, I think that is Roseman, California. Yeah. So very nice airplane, very nice indeed. If you know how to fly it, you're going to get a lot of, challenge out of it. And if that's what you want, highly recommend it. So we're taking up to almost to Roseman, and then we're going to turn. Then we're going to go this way. I was trying to stay northwest, I guess you could say. I guess more north of Mojave. I'm trying to track low and stay, because like I say again, I'm only going 9,000 feet, 9,500 feet. And then I'll try to trim it out to get right around 200 knots ground speed out of it. And then that's it. And we just kind of cruise. Alright, now we have made it up to the top side, and then I'm going to let the airplane settle itself out. Our prop RPM is right around 1800 RPM, and that translates to what, 92%. I like prop RPM better myself, but that's how this airplane is, so we gotta go with the hand we're dealt. So we are just progressing right along. We are burning 54 gallons an hour, but we're not quite settled down yet here. I want to get right around 200 knots, and then once we get right around 200 knots, that's when I'll be happy. And it looks like we can get there. I'm just kind of watching the gauges and everything else, making sure that I get where I want to, where I want to be at. My temperatures have stayed right around 780, 81, 82, 83, right along in there. I'm going to try to pull back on the props a little bit more. The props, according to the instructions, you're supposed to be right around at 83% on the NH RPM. So prop RPM in effect. Prop percentage. Right now we're doing 1850. And we do have a 5-knot tailwind. We're already at 205 knots, and we're still climbing in speed, and I'm gonna take advantage of that. I'm gonna see if I can back this down to 83% like it wants me to. Okay, now we're down to 85%. There is 83%. And we are still going up just a pinch. We're doing 209 knots indicated, as you can see on the top, you know, right hand corner of the part of the GPS. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to back off the air conditioner. I'm going to back off on the actually, you know what? No, I'm not. I'm going to leave it alone. Now, if I turn the air conditioner, well, actually, we're so cold right now, I actually need to add some heat. I need to go manual. I actually need to add some heat. I'm freezing out, everybody. Not really hot enough to, but if I turn on this air conditioner right now, what it would do is it would rob me of power, and I really don't need to worry about it because I want to stay right around 20 degrees Celsius. So I need actually to pump up our may have to go over here and get this to warm and then bring this down. Just leave it on vent so that way the air conditioner is not robbing me of power, and try to stay right around. In actuality, I'm not, because I have it on manual or on automatic here, it's supposed to be, that went all the way cool and the temperature's going up. Go figure on that one. If I go all the way warm, now it's starting to go down, even though I've got it set at warm. So, okay, whatever. It's supposed to be auto. But anyway, we're at 20 degrees Celsius. That's where I want to be for the cabin. So we're fine there. We are doing 780. The reason why I'm calling out the temperatures of the ITT or EGT is because it is so important not to over temp these engines. You get into, you just die. You just lose it. All right, we're settled down to 174 knots indicated, and now granted, because I'm using my XHSI stuff, it's telling me precisely what my speed is. But and that's about right, because there's 70, there's 75, there's, or sorry, 70. There's 170, 175, 180, and there's the 175 mark, and we're just past it. So yeah, the gauge is staying fairly accurate, pretty accurate. The only gauge that I found that is not accurate so far is the fuel gauge, one of the most important things. The fuel is in pounds, and when you go outside, and like right now, as an example, I'll show you as an example another quirk of this airplane, is right now it says that I've got roughly, let's see, there's 500, 556, 657, 758, 859, 950. So there is, like I said, 850. So we're like 860 something pounds, we'll say 860. And if I go outside and then I mouse over to this, now I don't know if it's going to do it because we are actually flying right now, so it may not do it. Yeah, it's not going to do it. But at any rate, the fuel, that's kilograms, so that's not going to help us. So I'm kind of, it's kind of, the odds are stacked against me here. But bottom line is, on my previous thing is that, or previous checkout, yeah, this is off. This is off by a little bit. Not a lot. It's not really off by a lot, but still, it's enough to be concerning when you're getting down really low on fuel. You really don't know if you're gonna run out of fuel or not. So that's why you always make sure you have plenty of fuel. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to just let the plane go. We are kind of in a cruise state right now, so there's nothing really for me to add right now. And I'll just come back on the other side of this flight when we're ready to land. And so I'll just time-lapse between here and this point and when we're ready to descend. So I'll catch you guys back on the other side. everyone, I am back, and we are back. We are going to do the descent, and here is looking at before you is Crowley Lake. So we are almost there. And this will be a fly at the seat of my pants landing. Up here. There's all kinds of altitude. See how we're higher in the kite, you can see all drag going down here. Alright, now we're really in trouble. Okay, that's off. Get to it. Separator and lights, and we'll just, this thing loves to descend like crazy. And let's see if I can set this down gently enough where it won't fold in the, because that's happened quite a bit. Fold in the landing gear. I had it. There it goes. Yay, I got down in one piece. That wasn't too bad. That was a 0.98 feet per minute, so less than a foot per minute. Okay, that was interesting. Some cleanup. There, get rid of the landing light. And we got down in one piece. I think we'll come around over here. Very nice. I was happy. I also got a boatload of fuel left for this run. I could have took a full load with this one. No problem. And we'll come over here and we'll park this bad boy, and that is the end of it. We have successfully landed here at KMMH here in Mammoth Mountain. Even though there's no snow. This would be more important if it was snow time, but it's not. And we'll go ahead and set the parking brake. Parking brake is set. Then we'll bring back all the... Now I got two ways to turn this thing off. Either I can just pull these fuel cutoffs down here, or I can flip the switches here. So either way it works. And we'll go ahead and just flip the switch. Boom, boom. And we'll turn that back on. See how I should have turned the external power on before I turned the engines off. Generators off, inverters still on because we still got power. Inertial separators off. And taxi light off. Lights off there. Beacon is off. We'll leave the other lights on. Veto's off. That's off. Everything is off on the panel, correct? Yes, everything is off on the panel right there. I think we are good to go. Let's go out there and open up the doors for the... And it looks like I need to put that on. I got to turn off the... For some reason, if I turn that off, that off, that off, then I think I can put these on now. Nope. Another little trick I got to do. Or I got to bring these... I got to bring the conditioners all the way back. That one, that one. There. Now I think it'll let me put them on. Yep, that's what it is. Then it'll let me put them all back on. So then I'll go ahead and go on over here. Actually, I'll just go outside. Easier. I just go outside. I'll click on here. And then I'll say all on. There. Makes it easy. Could just walk around, I guess. But anyway, and then we'll go ahead and finish the flight. And I'll hit refresh, and congratulations, you are in Mammoth, Yosemite, and job is complete. So we made it here. Now we're going to go to flight jobs, trying to pull everything up as quick as possible. And flight jobs, we'll go over here to flight jobs. Boom. And there is my flight right there. I'll go ahead and hit pay all the expenses, and then I'll go over here to the ledger. And here we go. KWJF KMMH, 175 nautical miles, an hour and 17 minutes, 8 passengers. Did 5 gallons cost. We did 9.4 gallons per mile. So that thing's kind of expensive. And we ended up making $1,300 for the company, and then I made $600 for myself. I'm trying to see where I can go to my ledger. I don't know where you go to see what money I made. Say for the pilot right here. No. Well, it doesn't matter. The company made $1,300, so that's all that matters. And I'm the company anyway, so it is what it is. So that's cool. So anyway, guys, I hope, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that, this will make your decision on buying this airplane if it's worth it to you or not. It's really a nice airplane. I really like it. I've been enjoying it for a long time now. And, like I said, you already have this airplane, you just update it, and the update price I think is like $19 or something like that, so it's not very expensive. So, but all in all, great airplane. I highly recommend it. It's very challenging, again, to sum up, and like I say again, you need to be very, very mindful of the temperatures of the engines, because you will over temp it, and then that will ruin your day and the flight is lost. So anyway, you guys take care and you have yourselves a great one. This is Dion Soul. See ya.